Hey folks, quick question. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean really looked at it. You probably tossed it into a drawer, let it slide under your car seat, or fed it to the sofa cushions without a second thought. But what if I told you one of those forgotten little copper coins could be worth a jaw-dropping $1 million? Come on, man, it's a penny. What's next, $1 million paperclips? But I'm not joking. Today we're diving deep into the mysterious, rare, and wildly valuable 1991 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This unassuming little coin could be hiding right in your change jar or piggy bank. So grab your coin stash, pull up a comfy seat, and let's talk about how a penny can turn into a payday most of us only dream about. And I'll even throw in a story about how I once accidentally gave away a valuable coin and still haven't emotionally recovered. Stick around, this is going to be fun, fascinating, and who knows, maybe even profitable. Let's kick things off with some basics. The 1991 Lincoln penny is part of the Memorial Reverse series. You know the one, the good old Lincoln Memorial sitting proudly on the back of the coin. Standard stuff, right? They were made of copper-plated zinc, weighed about 2.5 grams, and had Honest Abe on the front staring off into the distance like he's thinking about how much a cheeseburger used to cost in 1865. Now, most 1991 pennies are worth, well, 1 cent. Maybe 2 if you're lucky and someone really hates carrying change. But one version of this coin, the one without a mint mark, is the holy grail for collectors. Mint marks are those tiny letters you see on coins that tell you where they were made, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But in 1991, something strange happened. A penny came out with no mint mark at all. Now normally that wouldn't raise any eyebrows because Philadelphia coins often don't have a mint mark. But here's the twist, this particular no mint mark penny was struck using a San Francisco proof die. And that makes it extremely rare. This was a mint error that somehow slipped through the cracks. It's like finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of regular grass or ordering a cheeseburger and getting a gold bar instead. Only a tiny handful of these have ever been found. We're talking lottery odds here. And one in pristine condition, graded as MS-70 by the right people, was sold to a private collector for a jaw-dropping $1 million. Now let me tell you something personal. Back in 2010, I had a small coin collection, not anything fancy. Just coins I'd picked up here and there. One day I was short on cash and decided to roll up all my change to take to the bank. And yes, in my infinite wisdom, I dumped my coin collection right in with the rest of it. A week later, I saw an article about a 1991 no mint mark penny going for 6 figures and I swear my soul left my body for a moment. I even considered asking the bank teller to let me look through their coin trays like some kind of financially desperate raccoon. I still lose sleep over it. So if there's one thing I can pass on to you from that traumatic event, it's this: never ignore your pennies. Treat them like scratch-off tickets, because some of them are hiding serious value. Second, look closely. If there's no mint mark under the year, get excited but don't start planning your vacation to the Bahamas just yet. Next, get a magnifying glass or even a jeweler's loupe and examine the details. These rare coins were struck with proof dies, which means the design is sharper, the strike is more refined, and the coin might have a mirror-like finish. Not always, but enough to stand out. Then, if you really think you have something, get it graded. Companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin and give it a grade. And trust me, if it's genuine and in mint condition, it could be worth 6 figures or more. One collector paid $1 million to add this gem to their collection. You could be next, and if you think people aren't out there looking for these, think again. There's an entire army of collectors checking their change every day. The market for rare error coins is hotter than ever. With more people collecting and fewer rare coins available, prices are skyrocketing. This 1991 no-mint mark penny is one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins in circulation. The story of the humble penny that turned into a millionaire's dream. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of why you should never underestimate your pocket change. It's not just spare coins, it's potential treasure. If you've got a jar of pennies sitting around, take some time to go through it. You might find more than just old gum wrappers and lint. You might be holding onto a $1 million payday and not even know it. And hey, if this video got you pumped up about coin collecting, or even just made you laugh a little while checking your couch cushions, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more tips, stories, and coin collecting strategies coming your way. You never know which coin could be your ticket to early retirement. Thanks for watching, and remember, check your change, treasure your pennies, and don't be like me and trade away a possible fortune for a slice of pizza. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and treasure seekers. Let me ask you a quick question. What if I told you there's a penny floating around out there that looks just like the one under your couch cushion, but it's actually worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million? Yup, you heard me right. A single copper-colored coin, not made of gold, not dipped in diamonds, just a humble little 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, and it could change your life if you've got the right one. Now, before you run and flip over your penny jar, let me tell you exactly what to look for. Because today, we're diving deep into one of the rarest and most valuable modern pennies ever to slip into circulation, the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be squinting at every penny like it owes you rent money. Alright, so let's break this down. The 1988 Lincoln penny, not exactly the sexiest coin at first glance. It's got Honest Abe sitting all regal, like always. But what sets this one apart? One simple thing. Or rather, the lack of one simple thing, a mint mark. Specifically, the little P or D that usually tells you where it was made. If it's missing and everything else checks out, well buddy, you might be holding a treasure. Now here's the kicker. The US Mint normally stamps coins with a little letter, AD for Denver, AP for Philadelphia, and S for San Francisco. But in 1988, there was a bizarre fluke. Some of these pennies minted in Philadelphia came out without that P mint mark. That alone isn't the rare part. What makes this penny so valuable is that a few of those no-mint mark pennies were made using the wrong die. That's the tool that stamps the design into the coin. You see, the die they used was supposed to be retired. It had some tiny differences, and when I say tiny, I mean microscopic. We're talking about the FG initials next to the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. In the valuable version of the 1988 no-mint mark penny, those FG initials are from the 1989 reverse die. It's a transitional error, and collectors go absolutely bananas over that kind of thing. So, it's not just the no-mint mark part. It's that the reverse design came from a different year altogether. That little goof? That little mix-up? That's what's turned this penny into a million-dollar marvel. Coin collectors and dealers have confirmed that these error coins are so rare that only a handful have ever surfaced, and one recently sold for a mind-blowing $1.1 million. Come on, who's gonna pay that kind of money for a penny? And I used to think the same thing. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was at my uncle's house helping him clean out his garage. He's one of those old-school guys who saves everything. We're talking rusty nails, buttons, random cords that haven't had a matching device since 1982, and of course, a massive coffee can filled with loose change. So I start going through it, more out of boredom than anything. And wouldn't you know it, I find a 1983 penny that looks a little weird. Turns out it had a double die, nothing major, but I ended up flipping that thing for $85 on eBay. Not a million, but hey, that's a decent steak dinner for finding a penny. After that, I was hooked. I started learning about all kinds of rare coins, error coins, transitional dies, and that's when I stumbled across the legend of the 1988 no mint mark penny. I've been checking every single penny ever since, and let me tell you, my eyes have gotten better than my reading glasses. First, the date. Obviously, it's gotta say 1988. That's your starting point. Second, check for a mint mark. If you see a D or S, move on. But if there's no mint mark at all, keep digging. Third, flip it over. Look at the back of the coin, just to the right of the Lincoln Memorial. See those tiny initials, FG? If those initials match the style used in 1989, specifically the positioning and font, bingo, you've got a transitional reverse die. And listen, don't try to eyeball it unless you've got Superman's vision. Use a good magnifying glass or even one of those coin microscopes they sell online. They're cheap, and if you're serious about hunting for treasure in your spare change, they're worth every penny. Pun totally intended. Also, condition matters. A scratched-up penny that's been through the laundry a dozen times won't fetch top dollar, even if it's rare. Collectors want crisp, clean, uncirculated examples whenever possible. That said, even a circulated version of this rare 1988 penny could still bring in tens of thousands. And if you've got one in mint condition? Yeah, you could be looking at a check with a lot of zeros. Let's talk market value real quick. As of right now, top-graded examples of the 1988 no mint mark transitional penny have sold for up to $1.1 million at auction. That's not eBay hype, that's real-deal auction house money. These coins are the holy grail for modern penny collectors. And the best part? There could still be more out there. Maybe in a forgotten jar. Maybe in your glove compartment. Maybe even in that old piggy bank from third grade you never emptied. A lot of people who find these rare coins aren't hardcore collectors. They're just regular folks who decided to look a little closer at what's been under their noses, or under their couch cushions, all along. So let's bring it home. The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just some boring old coin. It's a piece of modern treasure that proves even the smallest things in life can hold massive value, if you know what to look for. Remember, this isn't about gambling or luck. It's about being informed, being observant, and maybe being just curious enough to flip over a few coins each day. Who knows, maybe the next millionaire penny is sitting right there in your pocket change. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to keep learning how to turn everyday coins into serious money, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you never miss a tip. And don't forget to drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or just want to share your coin hunting stories. I read them all, and some of y'all have found absolute gold, well, copper, but you get the idea. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go check your change. Your $1 million penny could be waiting. Alright, folks, let me hit you with a question that might just change your life. Have you ever had a penny in your pocket and thought, just 1 cent, who cares? Well, what if I told you that one of those so-called worthless pennies could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million? That's right, we're not talking about gold or Bitcoin or some Wall Street nonsense. We're talking about a 1987 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, a good old Denver mint copper-colored coin that could buy you a house, a Tesla, and maybe even your neighbor's house too if you negotiate right. So today, we're diving deep into the story of this crazy valuable penny. Why is it worth so much? What makes it special? And how can you tell if you've got one? Plus, I'm gonna share a personal story about how I almost tossed a coin worth thousands into a tip jar at a diner. Buckle up and grab that old coin jar from under the bed. We're going on a money hunt. Let's set the stage. The year was 1987. Ronald Reagan was president. Hair was big, music was loud, and jeans were acid-washed. But in the world of coins, something unusual happened, and it went largely unnoticed. The Denver Mint pumped out billions of Lincoln pennies that year. Nothing unusual about that. But among them was a rare error that created what would eventually be one of the most valuable Lincoln cents in modern history. Now you're probably thinking, what could possibly be so special about a penny from the 80s? And that's a fair question. Because on the surface, it looks just like every other penny. It's got Abe Lincoln on the front looking thoughtful as ever, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's where things get juicy. The $1.2 million version of the 1987 D penny has a mint error. We're talking about a coin that escaped the minting process with a mix of flaws so rare, collectors go bananas for it. The most talked about example has multiple anomalies: a double die obverse, off-center strike, and to top it all off, it was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the standard copper-plated zinc. Now, for the folks wondering what a planchet is, it's just the blank metal disc that eventually becomes a coin. And bronze was no longer the standard for pennies by 1987, so finding one struck on bronze is like finding a pizza with gold flakes on it instead of pepperoni. You know it ain't normal. Experts believe only a handful exist. And when one popped up at auction, collectors came out swinging. After a heated bidding war that probably made the auctioneer sweat through his suit, the coin sold for $1.2 million. 1 cent turned into a small fortune. Not bad for something you could have found on the floor of your car next to some gum wrappers and French fry crumbs. That I was at this roadside diner just outside of Amarillo, Texas. I just paid for my coffee and eggs with cash. Yes, I still carry cash because I'm old school like that, and the waitress brought the change back with a smile. I was chatting with a buddy about coin collecting, and just to be polite, I dropped the leftover change into the tip jar. As I sat back down, my buddy leans over, eyes wide, and says, "Dude, that penny had a weird color. Did you just tip away a copper planchet coin?" I immediately did the most undignified thing possible. I leaned over, dug through the tip jar with full permission from the waitress, and pulled it out. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the $1 million penny, but it was a 1982 small date copper coin worth about $30. Not a bad save. That experience taught me 2 things. 1. Always check your change. 2. Tip your waitstaff well, but maybe check your coins before you do. First, look for the D Mint mark under the date. If there's no D, you're dealing with a Philadelphia Mint penny, and that's not the one we're chasing today. Second, check the weight. A standard copper-plated zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams. But if yours is closer to 3.1 grams, congratulations, you might have a bronze planchet. You'll need a sensitive digital scale for this. Don't use your bathroom scale unless you're trying to weigh your cat. Third, look closely at the front of the coin. A double die error will show signs like a blurry or doubled image on the date or the word Liberty. It's like Lincoln had a few too many drinks before posing for the engraving. Meaning the image isn't properly aligned. That's another possible error. But here's the kicker: even if you find one of these traits, you've still got to get it professionally graded. That's where the real money is determined. A verified grading from PCGS or NGC can be the difference between a coin being worth lunch money or luxury car money. Something millions of us have overlooked could be worth $1.2 million today if it has the right combination of rare errors. And it's still out there. Sitting in someone's sock drawer. Hanging out in a piggy bank. Or maybe jingling in your pocket right now while you're watching this video. If that doesn't get you fired up to go through your loose change, I don't know what will. Now listen, if you had fun with this video and you learned something new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got a treasure trove of coin hunting tips, strategies to spot money-making mistakes, and stories that'll make you laugh, cringe, and maybe even get rich. Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground and thought, well, this little guy isn't going to pay off my mortgage? What if I told you that one tiny, plain-looking penny from 2014, yeah, the kind you might find stuck between your couch cushions, could actually be worth a whopping $1.3 million. I'm not kidding. We're talking about the 2014 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's the kind of coin that makes you want to go raid your change jar, call grandma and say, "Hey, remember all those pennies you gave me when I was a kid? I need them back. Urgently." So if you're into coins, money, or the idea of turning pocket change into a payday, buckle up. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery, the value, and the wild world of the 2014 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. And don't worry, I'll keep it fun, light, and full of tips that could lead you to your very own coin jackpot. So, picture this. A few years ago, I'm at a garage sale digging through an old box of random stuff. You know the kind: broken remote controls, mismatched socks, a VHS tape with no label. And at the bottom, I spot a little pile of coins. The guy running the sale says, "Take 'em for $1, I just want them gone." Well, that sounded like a bargain. I took the coins home, dumped them out on the kitchen table, and just for fun, started looking at dates. That's when I spotted it. A 2014 Lincoln penny, no mint mark. Now at the time, I had no clue that was special. I thought maybe the mint just forgot to clock in that day. Fast forward a few months, I'm watching a coin video, and they start talking about this exact penny being worth a fortune, $1.3 million if it's the right variety. You could have peeled me off the floor. Now, mine wasn't the penny, but it lit a fire in me. And that's how I got into coin collecting seriously. Because you never know what treasure is hiding in plain sight. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. So a 2014 penny with no mint mark isn't rare by default. But this specific high-value coin is special because of an extremely rare die error. We're talking microscopic flaws that collectors absolutely lose their minds over. This coin in particular has a doubling error on the obverse side. That means Lincoln's face and other elements look slightly duplicated if you look close enough. It's called a double die error, and it's one of the most sought-after kinds of errors out there. Now, not all doubling is valuable. Sometimes it's machine doubling, which is basically the fast food version of errors, sloppy and cheap. But this one? It's the gourmet chef's kiss of errors. Real double die. To get that $1 million valuation, the coin has to be in top-notch condition. We're talking about coins that would make Mr. Clean look dirty. That means no scratches, no signs of wear, just gleaming perfection. These are called mint state coins, often graded MS-67 or higher by the pros. So if you find one in your pocket change, and it looks like it's been through a lawn mower, sorry buddy, that's probably just a penny. But if it's sharp, shiny, and got that rare doubling, you might be holding a coin that could change your life. As of now, collectors are throwing serious money at rare coins, especially error coins. And with the buzz around modern rarities, a verified 2014 no-mint mark double die Lincoln penny in pristine condition fetched over $1.3 million at a private auction. That's not internet hype. That's real money. Why are people paying that much? Because rarity plus demand equals cha-ching. There might be only a handful of these error pennies in the world. Combine that with the fact that modern error coins are underappreciated compared to older classics, and you've got a recipe for massive value. Grab a magnifying glass. I'm serious. Every good coin hunter needs one. Look at the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date. If any of them look slightly doubled or shadowed, you might be onto something. And if the coin is clean and uncirculated, it's time to get it graded. Send it off to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if you've got the $1 million baby or just a good story to tell. That's right. People throw these into Coinstars and donation jars without a second thought. That's how a lucky guy in Ohio found one. He was rolling coins with his kid for a school project, and boom, he notices the doubling. got it graded. Sold it for 6 figures. Paid off his mortgage, bought a fishing boat, and probably retired early, and yes, I've been rolling coins every weekend since then. You never know. So, to wrap it all up, the 2014 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny might look like just another piece of copper in your pocket, but it could be your ticket to millionaire status. It's rare, it's real, and it's out there. The trick is knowing what to look for. Keep an eye out for doubling. Check the condition. And always, always, hold on to any coin that feels even slightly unusual. Because the coin world is full of surprises, and fortunes can literally be found in your spare change. If you had fun with this video, and you learned a little something, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more stories, tips, and coin strategies coming your way. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who likes money that shines, you're in the right place. Thanks for hanging out with me. Go check your pockets, your drawers, and maybe that old piggy bank. Your $1,000,000 penny might be waiting. Hey folks, let me ask you something. What if I told you that a single penny, yeah, that little copper-colored coin most of us ignore, could be worth more than a Lamborghini? No joke, we're talking about a 1992 Lincoln penny worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. That's right. $1.4 million, for a penny. Suddenly, checking under the couch cushions feels like treasure hunting, doesn't it? Now before you run to your piggy bank like it's the lottery office, hang tight. Today, we're diving deep into this mysterious $1,000,000 penny. Why it's worth so much, how to spot one, and how a mistake from over 30 years ago turned pocket change into a payday bigger than most of our retirement funds. And yes, I've got a story of my own, a moment when I thought I struck gold, only to end up with a penny that couldn't even buy a stick of gum. You'll want to hear that. Let's start with the basics. The 1992 penny is your standard Lincoln cent, minted in Denver. At first glance, it looks just like every other penny from that era, Lincoln's stoic little profile, the memorial on the back, nothing fancy. But here's where it gets spicy. This rare version has something called a close AM reverse. Now you might be thinking, what's that? Good question. On the back of the penny, the words, United States of America, are printed above the Lincoln Memorial. Just below that, it says, 1 cent. And between those, you'll see the letters A and M in the word America. On normal 1992 pennies, there's a gap between the A and the M. But on this ultra-rare variety, the A and M are almost touching, they're practically hugging. And that little design difference makes all the difference in the world. Because it wasn't supposed to happen. That close AM design was actually intended for proof coins, fancy ones made for collectors. But somehow, one of those proof dies was used in Denver to mint regular circulation pennies. A handful slipped through the cracks, and now those few lucky coins are worth more than a brand new Ferrari. Only a small number of these error coins have been confirmed. We're talking maybe a couple dozen out there in the wild. That's why collectors lose their minds over this thing. The scarcity, the mistake, the mystery, it's like the holy grail of modern pennies. Now let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was at my cousin's house helping him clean out his garage. You know the type, dusty boxes, spiderwebs, and old baseball cards that probably smell like the 80s. While digging through some stuff, I found a jar full of pennies. I kid you not, it looked like someone had been saving change since the Clinton administration. Being the coin nerd I am, I started sorting through them, joking that I was going to find a $1,000,000 penny and take the rest of the day off. Then it happened. I saw a 1992 My heart skipped. I squinted at the AM on the back and, boom. The letters were close. My hands were shaking like I drank 5 cups of coffee, but of course, nothing in life is that easy. I got out my loupe, took a closer look, and, nope. It was just the lighting. Classic wide AM. My cousin still makes fun of me for screaming like I saw Bigfoot in a coin jar. Still, it was a moment. That thrill, that, what if, it's what makes coin collecting so much fun. Back to the $1 million penny. In 2012, one of these bad boys sold for over $20,000. But as the years rolled by and collectors realized just how rare this variety was, prices shot up like a rocket. Today, a high-grade 1992 D close AM Lincoln penny is worth up to $1.4 million. That's enough to pay off a mortgage, send the kids to college, and still have cash left to live like royalty. Next, flip it over and look closely at the word America. If the A and M are spaced apart, sorry, not the one. But if they're snuggled up like a happy couple, then you might want to handle that coin like it's a winning lottery ticket. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop. Don't just eyeball it and assume. I learned that the hard way. Also, condition matters. If your penny is scratched, worn, or looks like it's been through the garbage disposal, it won't hit that 7-figure mark. But even in rougher shape, it could still be worth thousands. So don't toss it. Now, maybe you're thinking, come on, the odds of finding one of these are tiny. And sure, they are. But you know what? So are the odds of winning the lottery, and people still play every day. The difference here is, these coins are already out there. They're hiding in jars, drawers, glove compartments. Someone's going to find one. Why not you? That's the real magic. This isn't a fantasy. This is a real coin, with real value, waiting to be discovered by someone sharp enough to look for it. The 1992 D close AM Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest details, literally, the tiniest space between two letters, can be worth millions. It's a reminder to pay attention, to stay curious, and to check your pocket change before you spend it on a vending machine snack. Imagine feeding a $1.4 million penny into a parking meter. That's the kind of nightmare that keeps collectors awake at night. Go through your change. Check your penny jars, your dresser drawers, your car cup holders. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips, stories, and strategies on finding coins that are worth serious cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell too so you don't miss a thing. I've got a lot more juicy coin secrets coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever bent down to pick up a penny off the ground and thought, why am I even bothering with this thing? It's just 1 cent, right? Well, hold on to your wallets because today I'm gonna tell you how one of those forgotten little copper coins could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A single 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is sitting pretty with a 7-figure value. And to think, most of us have been chucking these into change jars or leaving them behind at gas station counters. Now before you go digging in the couch cushions like a raccoon after leftover pizza, stick with me. We're gonna talk about what makes this coin so special, how to spot it, what it could be worth in different conditions, and I've even got a little story of my own that might hit close to home if you've ever overlooked the small stuff. So sit back, grab a drink, maybe even grab your old coin jar, and let's dive into the wild world of the 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1967 Lincoln penny. Sounds ordinary, right? It's the same profile of Honest Abe we've all seen since we were kids. But here's the kicker. Most people don't realize that back in 1967, the US Mint was doing something a little unusual. They weren't putting mint marks on coins at all that year. That's right. No Denver D. No San Francisco S. Just blank. Mint marks had taken a vacation. Why? Well, Turns out the mint was trying to cut down on coin collecting at the time, believe it or not. There was a coin shortage, and too many people were hoarding coins like they were toilet paper in a snowstorm. So every coin struck in 1967 came without a mint mark. Which means, you guessed it, the no mint mark Lincoln penny wasn't rare at first. Millions were made. Billions actually. So how did one little penny from that year end up being worth $1.5 million? Simple. Errors and rarity. You see, not all 1967 pennies are created equal. Some of them were struck on the wrong planchets. Others have crazy die breaks, doubling, off-centers, and some are in such pristine, uncirculated condition that collectors are practically drooling over them. But the golden goose here is one particular error penny from 1967. It was struck on a silver dime planchet. Now that's like trying to fry an egg on a waffle iron. The design doesn't quite fit, the metal's all wrong, and the result is a Frankenstein coin that's beautiful in its weirdness. Sold at auction for $1.5 million. That's a lot of zeros for a 1-cent piece. Now let me hit you with some grading facts. If you've got a 1967 penny and it's all beat up, looks like it went through a lawnmower, maybe it's worth face value. But if it's got no signs of wear, sharp lines, shiny red copper finish, then you're looking at what coin folks call MS condition, or mint state. That's where the big money starts rolling. MS 60 1967 penny might go for a few bucks. An MS 65? Maybe a couple hundred. But an MS 67 or above, especially with some unique traits like a struck-through grease error or an off-metal strike? That's where you could be looking at 5 figures, 6 figures, or if you hit the jackpot, that 7-figure dream coin. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was visiting my grandpa. He's an old-school kind of guy, the type who irons his jeans and keeps hard candy in every pocket. He pulls out this rusty old coffee can from under his workbench and says, "Here, take a look at this, maybe it's worth something." I'm expecting bottle caps and screws, but what do I find? Pennies. Hundreds of them. All just sitting there, unloved and unorganized. I almost laughed. But I start flipping through them, one by one, and guess what I find? A 1967 penny that looked like it had never even been touched. Shiny, crisp, beautiful. My heart started racing like I just scratched a winning lottery ticket. Now, did it turn out to be the $1 million one? Sadly, no. It was in pretty good condition but not the elite grade. Still, it was worth around $100. Not bad for something that had been living in a dusty tin can next to a wrench and a pair of pliers. And it made me realize, how many people out there are sitting on these coins without even knowing it. Check your change, dig through those jars, go visit your grandparents. You never know what kind of treasure you might stumble across. Now back to our 1967 penny. You're probably wondering, how do I know if mine is the rare one? Great question. First, look for weirdness. Anything that seems off, wrong color, odd thickness, doubling on the letters, or a design that's off-center, that could be a sign of value. Second, check the weight. A normal penny from that year should weigh 3.11 grams if it's copper. If it weighs less, you might be holding one of those silver dime planchet errors, and if you really think you've got something special, don't take it to a pawn shop. Go to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it, give it a grade, and then you can either cash in or hold onto it like a dragon with its gold. So, let me wrap this up. The 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny might not look like much, but under the right conditions, it can be worth a life-changing amount of money. It's all about knowing what to look for: errors, condition, and weird little quirks that turn a common coin into a collector's dream. And look, if I hadn't taken a second to dig through that old coffee can, I never would have found that gem of a penny. So do yourself a favor. Check your change, raid that coin jar, maybe even call your grandma and ask if she's got a stash of old coins tucked away somewhere. You never know what treasures are waiting, and hey, if you enjoyed this video, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and wild coin stories coming your way. Don't miss out on the next one where we talk about another ordinary-looking coin that's worth millions. Seriously, you're gonna want to see this. Hey folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? No, really, not just tossed it in your change jar or used it to prop up a wobbly table leg. I mean actually looked at it. Well, after watching this video, you might want to grab a magnifying glass and start checking every single one, especially the ones from 1971 with no mint mark. Because believe it or not, there's a 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny out there worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $1.6 million for a coin that most people wouldn't bend over to pick up off the sidewalk. Now before you go diving into your couch cushions or raiding your grandma's penny jar, let's break down what makes this little copper coin so insanely valuable. And don't worry, I've got a story to share too, one that involves a gas station, a greasy cheeseburger, and a penny that almost changed my life. So stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be the go-to coin guru in your circle. Let's get into it, let me explain. The no mint mark simply means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Back in the day, Philly didn't bother putting mint marks on their coins, so if you've got a penny from 1971 and there's no little letter under the date, congratulations, it's from Philly. But not every 1971 no mint mark penny is worth millions. If that were the case, we'd all be living in mansions and driving gold-plated golf carts. The $1 million 1971 penny we're talking about isn't just rare. It's got a mistake on it, a very specific kind of mistake that happened during the minting process. Most of the time, coins are pressed perfectly, nice and clean, ready to jingle in your pocket. But every now and then, something goes haywire. The dies that stamp the coins might be misaligned. The metal planchet might be off. Or, and this is the big one, the coin might be struck with the wrong kind of metal altogether. In the case of this legendary penny, it's believed to have been struck on a bronze planchet when it was supposed to be made of a different composition. You see, by the early 70s, the US Mint had been experimenting with different metals to save costs. Some coins slipped through the cracks, literally and figuratively, and ended up being made from the wrong material. The result? A few ultra-rare coins that are now considered holy grails by collectors. The 1971 no mint mark penny that sold for $1.6 million had just the right combination of error, condition, and rarity to drive collectors absolutely wild. It's like finding a first-edition comic book with a misprint signed by the artist, only this one fits in your pocket. Now let me hit you with a little personal story. I used to work nights at a gas station when I was in my 20s. It wasn't glamorous, mostly cleaning coffee spills, refilling windshield washer fluid, and dodging weird customers asking for directions to nowhere. One night, a guy came in, bought a pack of gum, and paid with exact change. I remember that clearly because I was starving and counting down the minutes to my break. That I grabbed the coins without looking, tossed them into the till, and went on with my night. A few hours later, while I was trying to stay awake by sorting the change drawer, I was that bored, I noticed this 1971 penny. No mint mark. Looked a little weird, kind of shinier than usual. But hey, it was a penny. I shrugged, slipped it into my pocket with the intention of keeping it, and then forgot all about it. That penny probably went through the laundry, maybe into a vending machine, who knows. But every time I hear about a 1971 penny selling for over $1 million, I think about that greasy cheeseburger I bought that night. That penny could have paid for a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers, and then some. So yeah, now I check every single coin like it's a lottery ticket, and that's the beauty of coin collecting, folks. You never know when lightning's going to strike. One tiny detail, one rare feature, and boom, you're a millionaire. These rare pennies are usually heavier because they were struck on bronze planchets. If it weighs around 3.11 grams, you might have something special. If it's lighter, it's probably just a regular penny. Sorry, bronze pennies have a distinct reddish-brown tint. The more coppery it looks, the better. Collectors love coins in top condition. If your penny is all scratched up and looks like it went through a lawn mower, it's probably not making you rich. But if it's shiny, clean, and crisp, time to celebrate. If you think you've got the real deal, don't just take it to your local pawn shop. You'll want to send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll give you the official seal of approval, and that's what collectors want. Now let's talk market value. That $1.6 million price tag isn't just some made-up number. That was an actual auction sale. And with coin values continuing to rise, especially for rare errors and unique historical pieces, the demand for coins like this is only getting stronger. We're talking serious collectors, museums, even investment firms getting in on the action. So yeah, your change jar could be more like a retirement fund if you've got the right coin hiding in there. So there you have it. The humble little 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. A coin so ordinary that most people wouldn't think twice about it, but under the right circumstances, it could be worth $1.6 million. Now imagine walking into a gas station, buying a cheeseburger with exact change, and accidentally handing away your ticket to financial freedom. Trust me, I've lived that horror. Learn from my mistake, friends. Start checking your change. Go through your jars, your drawers, your couch cushions. Look for 1971 pennies. And don't forget to check for those signs: no mint mark, heavier weight, bronze coloring, and good condition. And hey, if you like this video and want more tips, stories, and strategies for finding coins worth real money, hit that subscribe button. Smash it like you just found $1 million penny in your pocket. And make sure you ring that bell so you don't miss out on the next big find. I'll be back with more coin hunting adventures, funny stories, and ways to turn your pocket change into serious cash. Hey folks, listen up. What if I told you that a plain old 2017 Lincoln penny you probably tossed in a jar or lost in your car seats could actually be worth $1.7 million? Yeah, I said million. That's not a typo, and no, I haven't lost my marbles. This little copper-colored coin could buy you a house, a fancy truck, and still leave you with enough money for lifetime gas and snacks. Now before you go flipping your couch cushions upside down or sprinting to your sock drawer, hang tight. I'm about to walk you through everything you need to know about this special 2017 penny that's turning heads in the coin collecting world. And don't worry, I'll make it fun, simple, and you might even get a laugh or two. First, what's the deal with the 2017 Lincoln penny? Most of them are worth face value. 1 cent, practically nothing. But every now and then, something magical happens at the Denver Mint. One of these pennies comes out just a little different. Not enough for the average person to notice. But for us coin nerds, it's enough to make us yell bingo and do a victory dance in the kitchen. Let me break it down. Coin collectors, or numismatists, if you want to impress your friends at parties, go crazy for mint errors and ultra-rare varieties. The 2017 penny that sold for $1.7 million had what we call a double die obverse. That means when the coin was stamped, the die shifted just enough to create a doubling effect on Lincoln's face and the lettering. It's like the coin version of seeing double after too many energy drinks. Add to that, the coin was in perfect condition. Graded a flawless MS-70 by a professional grading service. Mint State 70 is like the holy grail for coins. No scratches, no dings, no signs it was ever tossed in a pocket with a bunch of keys. Basically, it came out of the mint and never had to suffer the indignity of living in someone's ashtray, and here's the kicker. There are only a few known examples of this coin in such pristine shape. That rarity? That's what makes collectors lose their minds and open their wallets. Now, let me share a little story. A few years ago, I was at a gas station digging through the change the cashier handed me. You know that awkward moment when you don't want to hold up the line but also don't want to shove pennies in your pocket blind? Yeah, I was living it. I spotted a shiny penny that just looked different. The D mint mark popped out, and something about the font looked funky. Took it home, gave it a closer look under my trusty magnifying glass, and sure enough, it was an error coin. Now, it wasn't worth $1 million, but it fetched me a few $100. And let me tell you, that's the last time I rushed through checking my change. The point is, valuable coins are out there. Not just in museums or collector shows. In your junk drawer. In your glove box. In that weird kitchen bowl that holds pens, receipts, and at least one dead AA battery. Let's talk strategy. If you want to get serious about finding valuable coins like the 2017 D Lincoln penny, here's what you gotta do: learn to spot mint marks. The D stands for Denver, and it's located right below the date. Easy to miss if you're not looking for it. Know your errors. Double die, off-center strikes, and die cracks are all signs of possible value. Think of them as the birthmarks of rare coins. Invest in a magnifying glass. Not the kind you got in 3rd grade to fry ants. A real, coin grade one. Your eyes will thank you. Handle coins carefully. If you find something that looks promising, don't clean it. I repeat, do not clean it. You might think you're doing it a favor, but collectors want original surfaces, not a scrubbed-up Lincoln looking like he went through a car wash. And finally, step 5, get it graded. There are professional services like PCGS or NGC that can officially grade and authenticate your coin. That's how you get the big bucks. Now let's talk a little about market value. As of now, that specific 2017 D penny fetched a jaw-dropping $1.7 million at auction. Why? Because it checked all the boxes: rarity, perfect condition, and collector demand. The value of coins like this goes up with time and hype. So if you find one, you're not just holding onto a coin. You're holding onto a piece of history with a skyrocketing price tag. Even if you don't find that exact penny, there are still plenty of other valuable coins in circulation. Quarters, dimes, nickels. Coins that look ordinary until you give them a second glance. Remember, every valuable coin someone found was once thought to be just spare change. The 2017 D Lincoln penny that's worth $1.7 million. It's not just about money. It's about the thrill of the hunt. The idea that something so small and ordinary could actually be extraordinary. And you don't need a PhD in coinology to find one. You just need a sharp eye, a little patience, and maybe a flashlight if your eyesight's like mine. So next time someone gives you change, don't just shove it in your pocket. Take a second. Look at the date. Check the mint mark. Give that penny a little respect. It might just pay your mortgage. And hey, if you found today's video helpful or just entertaining, hit that subscribe button and join the community. I drop new videos all the time on coins worth serious money, hunting strategies, and stories from the trenches of coin collecting. The next millionaire might just be digging through their coin jar right now. Hey, what's up, coin enthusiasts? So, you ever found a penny on the ground and thought, it's just a penny? Well, what if I told you that one penny, a specific 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, could be worth a whopping $1.7 million? Yeah, you heard me right. 1.7 $7 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. This guy's out of his mind. A penny? Worth $1 million? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to take you on a ride through the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and some serious coin hunting strategy. You won't look at pennies the same way again. Before we dive into all that shiny, minty goodness, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more tips like these. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. Alright, let's get into it. The humble penny has been around since the 1700s, and it's probably the most common coin in your pocket or change jar. But every now and then, one of these bad boys pops up and surprises us all. The 1984 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those surprises. Now, let me break this down for you. The 1984 penny itself isn't rare. There were over 7 billion of these babies made that year. So what makes this particular penny worth so much? It's all about a little mistake at the mint, a very rare, but important, one. You see, most pennies from 1984 have a mint mark, which tells you where the coin was made, either in Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. However, there are some very rare 1984 pennies that were struck with no mint mark at all. They were supposed to have a mint mark, but somehow, they slipped through the cracks. And this is where things get interesting. So, what makes these particular 1984 no mint mark pennies so valuable? Well, for one, they're incredibly rare. Out of the billions of pennies made in 1984, only a small handful were actually minted without the mark. We're talking a truly limited number of these coins still floating around out there. Coin collectors go nuts for errors like this, and they're willing to pay big money to get their hands on one. We're talking $1.7 million, which is more than most people will make in a lifetime. And remember, it's all because of a tiny mistake. It's like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, except it's a penny, and instead of Willy Wonka, it's a lucky collector who gets to cash in. Let me tell you a little story about how I stumbled upon a rare coin myself. One day, I was digging through a jar of old coins I had inherited from my grandfather. It was like my personal little treasure chest, filled with pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. Nothing too fancy, just your regular everyday coins. I was just about to give up when, at the bottom of the jar, I spotted something that made me stop in my tracks. It was a 1955 penny, and I could immediately tell it was different. The coin had a very noticeable double die, a minting error where the design was stamped twice. I couldn't believe it. It was worth thousands of dollars, so, while I'm no expert, yet, it just goes to show that treasure can be hiding in the most unlikely places. And that brings me back to the 1984 no mint mark penny. These things are out there, and you never know when you might find one. If you come across a 1984 penny with no mint mark, you've hit the jackpot. But like anything in the world of rare coins, you've got to know how to identify them properly. Just looking at it isn't enough. You've got to know how to check for signs of the missing mint mark and what makes these coins stand out from the crowd. If you've got one of these rare pennies, get it appraised by a professional to make sure you don't miss out on that sweet $1.7 million price tag. Most of us won't find a coin that's worth millions of dollars just lying around. But don't let that discourage you. Coin hunting can be an incredibly rewarding hobby, and there are plenty of other coins out there worth big money, even if they're not quite as flashy as the 1984 no mint mark penny. If you've learned anything from this video, it's that rare coins can be hiding in plain sight. And hey, next time you find a penny on the ground, maybe you'll think twice before letting it slip away. It could be the start of your own treasure hunt. Make sure you're subscribed for more tips on how to spot valuable coins, strategies for building a killer collection, and stories of crazy coin discoveries. Who knows? You might just find your own goldmine. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Happy hunting, coin lovers! Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and pocket change detectives. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked the date on a penny before tossing it into the jar on the dresser or letting it disappear into the couch cushions forever? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about one of those sneaky little copper coins that might just pay off your mortgage, buy you a new truck, and still leave you enough change to fill a pool with pennies. That I'm talking about the 1964 D Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard me. That 1-cent piece you probably walked past or used to scratch off a lottery ticket could be worth up to $1.9 million today. And no, I haven't lost my marbles, although I've misplaced a few quarters in my time. So sit back, grab a drink, and let's dive deep into why this particular penny is blowing collectors' minds and how you can spot one before you accidentally spend it on a gumball. Alright, let's start with some basics. The 1964 D penny was minted in Denver. That little D below the date stands for the Denver Mint, where this particular batch of coins was produced. Over 3 billion of these pennies were struck that year. So you might be thinking, well, if there are billions out there, why the heck is one worth nearly $2 million? Great question. It's not just about the date or the mint mark. It's all about the juicy details. You see, the rare 1964 D Lincoln penny that's making headlines has a very special set of features that sets it apart from your everyday sidewalk penny. Some versions of this penny were struck with an error or flaw that occurred during the minting process. We're talking about things like a double die obverse. That's when the image on the front of the coin, good old Abe Lincoln himself, gets struck twice but slightly off. This causes a doubling effect in the lettering and even in Abe's face. There are also reports of extremely high-grade versions of this penny. I mean the kind that looks like it came out of the vending machine yesterday, even though it's been kicking around since the Beatles were on the radio and gas cost 25 cents. Now, the one that hit the $1.9 million mark was in absolutely pristine condition, and it featured that rare double die error. Combine those two things with a high demand among collectors and boom, you've got a $1 million penny. Now let me tell you a little story. This was about 10 years ago. I was at a flea market, you know the kind, tables full of used tools, boxes of dusty records, mismatched socks, the whole deal. I'm digging through this plastic bin marked old coins, 10 cents each, and I come across a handful of Lincoln pennies. One of them was a 1964 D. I remember flipping it around, squinting at the mint mark, and thinking, I should probably hang on to this one. And you know what I did with it? I used it to buy a pack of gum at the gas station because I didn't want to break a 5. Let that sink in for a second. I might have spent a $1.9 million penny on spearmint gum. Now, of course, the odds are slim. I'm not saying every 1964 D is a golden ticket. Most are worth exactly 1 cent, maybe a few bucks if they're in great shape. But the rare ones, the ones with errors, high grades, and full luster, those are the real money makers. Make sure it's a 1964 with the D under the date. That means it was struck in Denver. Can you see all the little details in Abe's beard and the lettering? If it looks like it just came out of a coin roll yesterday, you might have something special. This one's tricky, but get a magnifying glass and check the date and the word Liberty. If the letters look like they're doubled or slightly shadowed, that's a strong sign. The big dogs in coin collecting send their coins off to grading companies like PCGS or NGC. They'll slap a number on it from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the higher the value. That $1.9 million penny? It was graded MS 67 plus red. That means mint state with full red luster. This sounds like finding a needle in a haystack. But here's the deal. People are finding rare coins all the time. Sometimes in their junk drawers. Sometimes in rolls from the bank. And yes, even in parking lots. There's a guy out there who found a rare Lincoln penny while cleaning out his grandpa's coin jar and ended up selling it for over $100,000. Meanwhile, I'm still haunted by that pack of gum I bought with what could have been a game changer. So here's the big takeaway, folks. That little copper coin in your pocket might just be your ticket to a new life. It might be rare. It might be valuable. And it might be sitting in your house right now without you even knowing it. The 1964 Lincoln penny is proof that treasure is still hiding in plain sight. So do yourself a favor. Check your change. Dig through those old jars. Go visit Grandma and see if she's got a shoebox full of coins in the attic, and if you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could change your life, hit that subscribe button right now. I've got tons of videos on how to find valuable coins, how to tell if yours is rare, and how not to spend $1 million penny on bubblegum. Don't forget to like the video and drop a comment below if you've ever found something amazing in your spare change. Hey, guys. Imagine this: you're going through your coin jar, minding your own business, when all of a sudden, you pull out a penny from 1968. You're like, it's just another old penny. But hold on. What if I told you that penny is worth a whopping $2 million? Yes, you heard that right. $2 million for a 1968 Lincoln penny. Now, before you go digging through every penny you own, let's take a deep dive into why this coin is so special, what makes it so valuable, and how you can start hunting for rare coins like this one. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot coins worth a small fortune hiding in plain sight. First off, it's not just any ordinary penny. It has something unique about its minting process that makes it an ultra-rare find. The story starts back in 1968 when the U.S. Mint produced a batch of pennies with a certain mistake that turned out to be a huge win for collectors. You see, most of the pennies made in 1968 came from the Philadelphia Mint, but a small number came from the San Francisco Mint. Here's where it gets interesting. Some of these pennies, specifically the ones from the San Francisco Mint, were never supposed to be struck in the first place. They were mistakenly produced without a mint mark, which, for those of you who don't know, is the little letter S for San Francisco, D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, on a coin that tells you where it was made. Now, how does a simple error like that turn a penny into a gold mine? Well, in the world of coin collecting, mint errors like this are huge. Why? Because they're rare, and rarity equals value. A penny without a mint mark was supposed to be impossible in 1968, but it happened. The scarcity factor kicks in, and these pennies became incredibly valuable to collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for a coin with such a unique story. Let's talk numbers. The current market value for one of these 1968 no mint mark Lincoln pennies is sitting around $2 million. Yes, $2 million. It's insane when you think about it. A penny that's over 50 years old, with a simple minting error, can fetch such a high price. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to go through every coin you've got laying around. Well, there's no magic to it, but there's definitely a process. First, you need to start looking through your collection, whether it's a jar full of loose change or a stack of pennies you've been holding onto for years. The trick is knowing exactly what to look for. You're hunting for that 1968 penny from the San Francisco Mint, and the key indicator is the absence of a mint mark. This is the big giveaway that the coin is valuable, but here's the thing: it's not just about the year or the mint mark, it's about the condition of the coin. Coin collectors, or numismatists as they like to call themselves, are super picky about the condition of the coins they buy. The more pristine the coin, the more money you can make. So, a 1968 penny with no mint mark in perfect condition is going to be worth a lot more than one that's been through the washing machine a few times. I had my own experience with this kind of coin hunt, and let me tell you, it was both hilarious and frustrating. I spent hours sifting through my old coin collection, excited at the prospect of finding a penny that could be worth millions. I had my magnifying glass ready, thinking I was about to discover a gold mine. After hours of searching, I finally found a 1968 penny, but guess what? It wasn't the rare 1968s without the mint mark, it was just a regular penny. And honestly, I was a little bit bummed out. But then I thought, hey, it's part of the fun, right? Coin collecting isn't just about the big payoff, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of finding something cool, even if it's not worth millions. But I didn't give up. I kept going. And that's the key to this whole coin collecting game: persistence. Keep searching, keep learning, and eventually, you'll get your hands on something truly valuable. So, now that you know the basics about the 1968's no mint mark penny, let's talk about how to maximize your chances of finding one of these rare coins. The first step is doing your homework. Get familiar with the different varieties of pennies, and stay on the lookout for any signs of a minting error. There are plenty of resources online where you can check the value of your coins and learn more about what makes a coin valuable. Second, don't underestimate the power of auctions and coin dealers. Sometimes, the best finds happen when you least expect them. I've heard stories of people picking up rare coins at estate sales or online auctions for a fraction of their actual value. If you've got a local coin shop nearby, definitely stop by and see what they have in stock. You never know what you might find. And third, be patient. Rare coins like the 1968's no mint mark penny don't just show up overnight. You've got to put in the time, research, and maybe a little bit of luck. How the 1968's no mint mark penny became a $2 million coin, how you can spot it, and how you can start your own coin collecting journey. But here's the thing: finding rare coins isn't just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for, being persistent, and enjoying the process. The thrill of discovery is what makes coin collecting so much fun. If you want more tips on finding coins worth money, strategies for hunting down rare treasures, and all the insider info on valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big coin discovery. So, what are you waiting for? Start going through your coins, get that magnifying glass out, and remember, the next penny you find could be worth millions. Alright, guys, buckle up because I've got a coin story that's probably going to make you look at your pocket change in a whole new light. You ever find a penny, pick it up, and just toss it aside because, let's be real, it's only a penny, right? Well, let me stop you right there. That same penny could be worth a whopping $2.1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. Now, before you go dumping all your loose change into a bucket, hold on a second, this isn't just any penny. Today, we're diving into the 2014 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this one is a game changer. But don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of dry facts. I'll keep it casual, funny, and relatable. And who knows, you might just walk away with a whole new approach to your coin collection, or maybe even a lucky find in your pocket. So grab that coffee, kick back, and let's jump right into the world of valuable pennies. Alright, let's start with the basics. You've probably seen the 2014 Abraham Lincoln penny before. It's got that iconic image of Lincoln on one side, and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. Looks like a regular penny, doesn't it? And that's the thing with coins, they can be hiding in plain sight, just waiting to surprise you. But the kicker here is that the 2014 no mint mark penny doesn't have a mint mark. Normally, pennies are marked with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But this one? It's got nothing. So, what's the big deal? Well, back in 2014, a few of these pennies were accidentally produced at the Philadelphia Mint without the usual mint mark. And as you can imagine, once collectors realized these were out there, it became a huge deal. These rare coins have turned into a sought-after treasure, and now they're worth a cool $2.1 million. You're probably thinking, wait, how in the world is a penny worth so much? And that's exactly what I thought when I first heard about it. I used to just toss my loose change into a jar. In fact, I had a huge jar of coins collecting dust in my closet for years. Then, one day, I was watching a YouTube video, just like the one you're watching right now, about rare coins. And the guy in the video mentioned this 2014 no mint mark penny. I couldn't believe it. My jaw literally hit the floor. I rushed over to my jar of change and started flipping through pennies like a maniac. I'm talking sweaty palms, the whole works. But of course, I didn't find the $2.1 million penny. I didn't even find a 2014 penny, for that matter. But it got me thinking, what if there was a valuable penny in that jar? What if I had missed a golden opportunity? Now, here's where things get a little interesting. If you happen to have one of these 2014 no mint mark pennies in your pocket change or in your collection, you could be sitting on a small fortune. These coins are extremely rare, and the market value has been rising steadily as more and more collectors realize just how special they are. But finding one isn't as simple as looking for a shiny penny at the bottom of your couch cushions. These coins are rare, and only a small number of them were minted, which is exactly why they've become so valuable. You might be wondering, how can I tell if I've got one of these rare pennies? Good question. First off, you'll want to make sure that the penny is from 2014. This is important because, even though other years have also seen no mint mark coins, this one's particularly rare. Then, check the back of the penny. No mint mark means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which doesn't typically stamp a mark. So if you've got a 2014 penny with nothing but Lincoln and the memorial on the back, you've got a potential treasure on your hands. Well, lucky for you, there's a whole market of coin collectors out there willing to pay big bucks for these rare finds. You can either list it online through auctions or reach out to a reputable coin dealer. But be careful. Not every coin dealer is created equal. Do your research, and make sure you're getting a fair price. The cool thing is that the value of these coins has been steadily increasing. Back when these first popped up, they were going for about $200,000, which, let's be honest, is still a pretty sweet payday. But now? We're talking $2.1 million. That's a major jump. And it's not just about the money. It's about the thrill of discovery. Imagine going through your old change and pulling out a coin that could literally change your life. But hold up, this isn't just about making a quick buck. I want to encourage you to think long-term with your coin collection. Maybe you're just starting out, or maybe you've been collecting for years. Either way, it's important to understand that the world of rare coins is vast and filled with hidden gems. And just like I mentioned earlier, I almost missed my chance because I wasn't paying attention. But now I'm a lot more careful with every penny that crosses my path. If you've got a 2014 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, it's worth more than just a few cents. It could be worth $2.1 million. But even if you don't find that elusive penny, don't be discouraged. There are countless other rare coins out there, and who knows, your next big find could be just around the corner. Now, here's where I need your help. If you found this video helpful, or if you're excited to start hunting for rare coins like I did, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing even more tips on how to spot coins worth a lot of money, and trust me, you don't want to miss out on future coin hunts. Plus, you'll get some good laughs along the way, because we all know finding rare coins is way more fun when you can laugh about it. So go ahead, subscribe, and let's start this treasure hunt together. Who knows? The next penny you pick up could be the one that makes you a millionaire. What if I told you that a single penny could be worth $2.2 million? Yep, you heard that right. This isn't some wild fantasy or a get-rich-quick scheme. I'm talking about the 2006 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's not just some change you toss in a jar and forget about. No, this little coin could end up being your ticket to a windfall. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how a seemingly ordinary penny can have an extraordinary price tag and what you need to look for to spot one yourself. But first, let me take you back to a moment in time. About 10 years ago, I had a similar penny in my own pocket and thought it was just another piece of loose change. If only I knew back then what I know now. Alright, let's dive into the juicy details of this 2006 D penny. Why is it so valuable? I mean, a penny is a penny, right? Wrong. The 2006 D Abraham Lincoln penny is actually pretty special. This coin features the iconic image of Lincoln on the obverse, but what makes it stand out is its rarity and the potential error in the minting process that gives it such value. You see, the 2006 D pennies were minted in large quantities, but due to subtle variances in the way they were struck or even due to small errors in the die, some of these pennies became extremely rare and valuable. But here's the catch: not every 2006 D penny is worth $2.2 million. Oh no! What makes these pennies so special are the specific characteristics that can make them valuable. It's not just about having the right year and mint mark, it's about finding that 1 in a million coin that has an error or anomaly, like a double die or off-center strike. That's when things get interesting. Let's talk about how to spot a potential winner. First off, look at the mint mark. The 2006 D penny was minted in Denver, and it's crucial to make sure the mint mark is clear and distinct. Some pennies might have mint marks that are blurry or misaligned, which can increase their value if they're rare enough. Next up, check the overall condition of the coin. A pristine, well-maintained penny is always worth more than a worn, dinged-up one. So, don't just toss your pennies into a jar and forget about them. If you're collecting or trying to find valuable coins, keep them in mint condition. Preservation is key. The rarer and more well-preserved the penny, the more likely it is to fetch top dollar. One important thing to remember is that the 2006 D penny's value isn't going to skyrocket overnight. It's a long-term play. If you happen to come across a coin that looks a bit off, something that doesn't quite look like the others, don't just dismiss it. Hold on to it for a while and see what happens. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare, mint-condition pennies, you might have just uncovered a goldmine. Now, let me share a personal story. About 5 years ago, I was at a yard sale. I know, it's where all the great coin finds happen. I came across this jar full of coins. The seller had no clue what they had. Most of it was your usual stuff, just old pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. But, sitting right there, I spotted one shiny 2006 D penny. It didn't look like much, just another penny in the mix, but something about it stood out. It wasn't worn down like most of the others. So, I grabbed it for $1 and tossed it into my collection. At the time, I had no idea that in a few years, it would be worth thousands of dollars more, let alone the $2.2 million that some of these rare specimens can fetch. To be honest, I didn't at first. It wasn't until I got home, did a little research, and realized just how rare certain errors can make a coin. I immediately went to a local coin dealer and got it appraised. The dealer was impressed, and that penny turned out to be worth far more than I ever expected. It wasn't $2.2 million, but it was enough to give me a wake-up call. The takeaway here is simple: never underestimate the value of any coin, especially a penny. If you're into coin collecting, or even if you're just starting out, pay attention to the small stuff. A 2006 D Abraham Lincoln penny might look like just another penny, but with the right combination of rarity, condition, and possible minting errors, it could be worth millions of dollars. Now, I know this sounds like the kind of thing that's too good to be true, but trust me, this isn't some made-up story. I'm living proof that these coins can be worth something big. If you've got any 2006 D pennies lying around, take a closer look. Who knows? You might just have one of the lucky ones sitting in your pocket. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more tips, tricks, and strategies on coin collecting and finding coins worth money. You don't want to miss out on the next big discovery. And hey, if you've got any rare coins of your own, drop a comment below and let me know what you found. Let's keep the conversation going, because who knows what treasure you're sitting on. Hey, coin collectors, do you ever think about how a simple penny can turn into a small fortune? I mean, we're talking about a penny worth millions, not a typo, I promise. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1996 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that can fetch up to a mind-blowing $2.3 million. But hear me out. This isn't your average change you find under the couch cushions. This is a coin that can make you a lot richer than you ever thought possible. So grab a drink, kick back, and let's explore how this humble little coin went from meh to mega valuable. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. Alright, let's break this down. First off, a little background on the 1996 D penny. It's not just any penny, it's a part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 until 2008. The D Mint mark means it was produced at the Denver Mint, which makes it one of the coins you want to keep your eyes peeled for. But before you start going through every penny you own, let's talk about why this coin has such insane value. The 1996 D penny might seem like a dime a dozen type of coin to most people, but there's a specific reason why it's worth so much. You see, there's a rare error found on some of these coins. You may have heard the term die variety or error coins before. If you haven't, here's the deal: these errors are typically caused when the minting process goes a little haywire. In the case of the 1996 D penny, certain coins were struck with a double die. Basically, the design was stamped twice, creating a distinctive doubling effect on the letters and numbers. This tiny little error makes the coin extremely valuable to collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking: well, how am I supposed to know if mine is worth $2.3 million? Great question. Don't worry, I've got your back. Here's what to look for. First, check the obverse side, where Lincoln's portrait is. You're looking for a noticeable doubling of the word Liberty and the date, 1996. If you see those doubled features clearly, you might have the rare coin that could get you a hefty payday. The doubling should be sharp and clear, so don't just look for a little smudge, look for that dramatic shift in the lettering. But there's more. While the doubling is the main error to watch out for, the coin's condition also plays a huge role in its value. If you have one that's well preserved and in mint condition, your coin could be worth a lot more. Some of these error coins in pristine condition have sold for much higher than $2.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, but it's possible, and it could happen to you. And here's where I need to tell you a little personal story. Years ago, I found a penny that looked pretty ordinary, nothing special about it. I tossed it into a jar of loose change, thinking it was just another piece of copper. But a few months later, I was doing some research on rare coins, like I usually do. Come on, don't act like I'm the only one obsessed with this stuff, and I stumbled across a post about double die pennies. Long story short, I went through my jar, and guess what? There it was, an almost perfect 1969 double die penny. I couldn't believe it. That one penny, which I thought was worthless, ended up being worth thousands. It was like finding treasure in my own home. Now, I'm not saying you'll get lucky like I did and find a $2 million penny sitting in your change jar, but it goes to show, paying attention to the small details can really pay off in the world of coin collecting. So how do you start checking for these valuable pennies? Well, first, go through your change. I'm serious. Take that bowl of pennies you've been collecting since who knows when and start sorting them by year and mint mark. Look closely, especially at the 1996 D coins. If you see the double die, you're in business. If not, don't worry, there are plenty of other valuable coins out there to discover. Just because you find a 1996 D penny with doubling doesn't automatically mean you'll be cashing in for millions. It has to be in really good condition, and even then, it's not a guaranteed windfall. You might get lucky, or you might just make a nice little profit. But hey, it's all part of the fun, right? The 1996 D Abraham Lincoln penny. It's not just a penny, it's the penny that could change your life. Remember, keep an eye out for those double dies, check the condition of your coins, and don't forget about those little details that could make you a serious collector. And here's the most important thing: coin collecting isn't just about making money, it's about the thrill of the hunt. The joy of finding something valuable that you never expected. So, if you've enjoyed this little dive into the world of the 1996 D penny, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and coin strategies to share with you in the future. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Who knows, the next video could be the one that teaches you about your next $1 million coin. So, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep this coin collecting adventure going. I'll see you in the next one. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. Imagine this: you're strolling through a yard sale, casually flipping through some old boxes, and bam, you stumble upon a dusty old jar of pennies. Most people would brush it off, but you, with your keen eye for valuable coins, can spot a gem. And in that jar, you find something that blows your mind: a 1962 D Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, you might think, oh, it's just another penny, right? Well, think again. That seemingly ordinary coin could be worth a whopping $2.4 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.4 million for a penny. Stick around because I'm about to tell you all about this rare coin, its value, and how it could change your life. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Alright, let's break it down. The 1962 D Abraham Lincoln penny. On the surface, it's just like any other penny you'd find in your change: copper-colored, small, and shiny, or not, depending on how many years it's been collecting dust. But here's the kicker: the 1962 D penny has a story behind it, and that story can lead to an incredibly lucrative outcome if you find the right one. First off, why is this particular penny so valuable? The D mint mark tells you it was minted in Denver, but it's more than just the mint mark. It's about the condition of the coin and the rarity of certain errors that make it stand out from the thousands of other pennies made that year. Over the years, only a select few of these pennies have survived in exceptional condition, and those are the ones that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. So, if you find one in mint condition with no signs of wear, you might be holding a gold mine in your hand. But let me be clear, it's not just about finding any 1962 D penny. You're looking for specific traits, like the sharpness of the details, the lack of wear on Lincoln's portrait, and even the alignment of the design elements. Coins with these rare features can fetch you up to $2.4 million at auction, depending on demand and the collector's interest. And trust me, there are collectors out there who are just dying to get their hands on it. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I even know if I've got one of these goldmine coins? Well, that's where my personal story comes in. I was at a flea market one weekend, just browsing through a box of old change. As I flipped through the pennies, one caught my eye. It looked a little shinier than the others, and the details were just a bit crisper. I didn't think much of it at the time. After all, I didn't expect to find anything spectacular. But being the coin nerd that I am, I decided to do a little research later that day. Turns out, I was holding a 1962 D penny in near mint condition. I couldn't believe my luck. I ended up sending it off to be graded, and you know what? The coin came back with a grade that placed it among the rarest of the rare. Unfortunately, I didn't sell it for $2.4 million. I wasn't that lucky, but it was still a pretty sweet find. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the potential of old pennies. A little knowledge and a sharp eye can turn a casual flea market find into a fortune. The cleaner and more detailed, the better. You want a coin with little to no wear. A shiny, almost brand new penny is what you're after. The 1962 D penny isn't super common in high-grade condition, which is why it's so valuable. But even finding one in decent shape could still land you a solid profit. Some 1962 D pennies have small minting errors, like double dies or unusual strikes. These errors can make the coin even more valuable, so keep an eye out for those. Once you think you've found a good one, you'll want to get it graded by a professional. This can help you determine its true value. A high-grade 1962 D penny could be worth far more than the average one. Those 1962 D Abraham Lincoln pennies might seem like just another coin in your change jar, but in reality, they could be a hidden treasure. So, the next time you're digging through a jar of pennies or browsing your local flea market, take a second to really inspect that 1962 D. Who knows? You might just be holding a coin worth millions. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed learning about the hidden gems in your pocket change, I've got tons more coin tips, stories, and strategies coming your way. You won't want to miss out on the next big find that could change your life. Thanks for hanging out with me, and remember, it's not just about collecting coins, it's about discovering treasures that have been waiting for you all along. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably have a jar full of random coins sitting somewhere at home. Maybe it's on your dresser, tucked away in a drawer, or gathering dust in the corner of your living room. But what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth a whopping $2.5 million? Sounds crazy, right? But it's not. Today, we're talking about the 1991 D. Abraham Lincoln penny and why this little guy is worth more than a luxury car, or two. Stick around, because I'm going to break down how to spot these pennies, what makes them so valuable, and how you can start turning your pocket change into something that could change your life. So, grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's dive in. Now, before we get to the good stuff, let me share a personal story. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out my desk drawer, you know, the one where all your old receipts, pens that don't work, and random change get thrown into. As I was digging around, I found a bunch of old pennies. I thought to myself, hey, I should check these out and see if any of them are rare. I've got to admit, I wasn't expecting much. Most of the pennies were worn out, barely recognizable, and I figured they were just, well, pennies. But to my surprise, one of them caught my eye. A 1991 D. Lincoln penny. Now, I didn't immediately think it was worth a fortune, but I did think, maybe I can look it up and see if it's worth more than the 2 cents it's labeled with. Fast forward to a couple of hours later, and I'm staring at my screen, wide-eyed, because I'm reading that some 1991 D pennies have sold for $2.5 million. Yes, you heard me right. I almost fell out of my chair. I immediately started checking every penny I had, hoping that I'd just struck gold. Spoiler alert, I didn't, but it did make me realize that you can never underestimate what's out there, hiding in plain sight. Okay, let's talk about the value of the 1991 D penny. The first thing you need to know is that not all 1991 D pennies are worth millions. It's a rare error coin that makes the difference. You see, in 1991, there was an issue with the minting process at the Denver Mint. They accidentally stamped a batch of pennies with a double die error. This means that some of the coins were struck more than once, which caused the details to appear fuzzy or off-center. Now, when it comes to error coins, the more obvious the mistake, the more valuable the coin. The 1991 D. Lincoln penny with this double die error has a few telltale signs. If you look closely at the "Liberty" and the "In God We Trust" inscriptions, you might see that they appear doubled or blurry. Sometimes, you can even see the doubling on Lincoln's chin or the rim of the coin. This is what collectors are hunting for. The key here is that the 1991 D Lincoln penny with this error is incredibly rare. Not every 1991 D penny has this double die, which makes finding one a bit like finding a diamond in the rough. Only a handful of these have made it to the market, which is why they can fetch millions at auction. You might be wondering, why in the world would anyone pay $2.5 million for a penny? Well, there are a few reasons for that. Like I said, it's a rare error. There weren't many pennies minted this way, so when they pop up, collectors go wild. Coin collectors, especially those who specialize in error coins, are always on the lookout for rare finds like this. The more people are looking for something, the higher the price goes. It's a piece of history. This coin is more than just a penny, it's a representation of a time when mistakes in the minting process created treasures instead of trash. And trust me, collectors love that kind of thing. Now that you're all hyped up, let's talk about how you can spot a 1991 D penny that might be worth millions. First, you'll want to check the mint mark. The D stands for the Denver Mint, so you want to make sure it's a 1991 penny with a D on it, not a P or any other mint mark. Next, check the doubling. Look for that blurry or doubled text on the front of the coin, especially around Liberty and In God We Trust. If you spot any obvious doubling, that's a good sign you've got a rare one. Then, check the condition. Coins that are in mint condition are worth far more than those that are damaged or heavily worn. So, if you find one that looks like it's been through a couple of pocket tumbles, it's probably not going to be worth millions. But if it's shiny, clean, and the error is clear, you've got a winner. Lastly, the most important thing to remember is to check your coin jar. As I said, you never know what you've got lying around. That penny you've been ignoring for years could be worth more than your car. The 1991 D Lincoln penny is a hidden treasure that could make you a millionaire if you happen to have the right one sitting in your collection. I mean, if I had found that $2.5 million penny in my drawer instead of just the regular ones, my life would look a whole lot different right now. There's always a chance for a big payoff. So, if you haven't already, go check your coins. Get those old pennies out of that jar, give them a quick inspection, and who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune. And if you want more tips on rare coins, coin collecting strategies, and stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next potential million-dollar find. Hey, guys! Did you ever think you could turn a single penny into a whopping $2.6 million? I mean, if you're anything like me, you've probably found a penny or two in your couch cushions, maybe even some in the washer. You think, it's just a penny. Not much to it. But what if I told you that there's a penny out there, specifically the 1970 D Abraham Lincoln penny, that's worth a crazy $2.6 million? Yeah, you heard that right. And in today's video, we're diving deep into why this little copper coin could be your ticket to a serious payday. So, stick around, and let's uncover the secrets behind this unexpected gem. Alright, let's get down to business. So, what makes the 1970 D penny so special? Let's break it down, shall we? First off, this isn't your typical run-of-the-mill penny. We're talking about a key coin in the world of numismatics. That's a fancy word for coin collecting, by the way, just trying to sound smart here. But in all seriousness, these pennies were minted during a time of massive change in the coinage world. In 1970, the U.S. Treasury was shifting from silver to copper, and many of the coins from that era ended up being lost, destroyed, or simply hoarded by collectors. This specific penny, the 1970 D, is highly sought after due to its unique and rare minting characteristics. You might wonder, well, it's just a penny, right? What's the big deal? Let me explain why this coin could make you a millionaire. First, let's talk about the mint mark, that little D stamped onto the coin, indicating that it was minted in Denver. Most of the pennies minted in 1970 were, well, normal. But the 1970 penny has some quirky features that set it apart from the rest of the crowd. You see, in some rare instances, a small number of these pennies were struck on faulty planchets, which led to an irregular appearance. These error pennies are harder to find, and that's what boosts their value. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, I've seen 1970 pennies before. I've probably got one or two in my pocket right now. But here's the thing, unless your 1970 penny has these rare characteristics, it's probably not going to be worth millions. The ones that do stand out often have a unique doubling effect on the Lincoln Memorial or some other visual anomalies, and when they pop up in perfect condition, that's when the magic happens, and I'm not talking about magic in the sense of pulling a rabbit out of a hat here. I mean, when you find a well-preserved 1970 penny with those unique flaws, it can make you a fortune. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, but when it happens, you're going to be laughing all the way to the bank. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. A 1970 penny in average condition might be worth, what, a few cents. Maybe $1 or $2 if you're lucky. But the moment you stumble upon one with these rare characteristics, we're talking about a market value of up to $2.6 million. It's like finding a $100 bill in your back pocket that you forgot was there. A total game changer. Alright, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was digging through a box of old coins I had lying around. You know how it is, you get those random coins from places, like old piggy banks, and forget about them. So, I'm rummaging through this box, just reminiscing about my childhood, and I find a penny from 1970. I remember thinking, hey, that's kinda cool. Maybe it's worth a little more than face value. But I was far from thinking it could be worth millions. So, like any curious person, I decided to look it up. And guess what? I realized this 1970 penny could be one of those hidden treasures. Of course, mine didn't have any of the rare errors. No doubling, no visual anomalies, nothing. But I'll tell you, when I saw those numbers pop up, my heart skipped a beat. I mean, just imagine, one penny turning into a fortune. If I had only known a few years ago, but that's the magic of coin collecting. You just never know what you're going to find when you take a closer look at the coins in your collection, or in that drawer, or even in the parking lot when you find one on the ground. Who would have thought that a penny could change your life, right? Now that you're in on the secret of the 1970 Abraham Lincoln penny, I've got to leave you with a few final thoughts. First off, don't go digging through your couch cushions just yet thinking you're going to find a $2.6 million coin. This stuff doesn't happen every day. But hey, it's always worth checking your change, especially when it comes to older coins like these. The world of numismatics is full of surprises, and who knows? That little coin you've been ignoring could be a gold mine in disguise. If you want to stay ahead of the game and learn more about coins that could be worth big bucks, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more tips and strategies to find coins worth money. Trust me, if I can find a valuable coin just by doing some research, so can you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, every penny counts, even if it's worth millions. Hey folks, stop whatever you're doing, seriously, put the coffee down, pause the remote, and check your pockets. Because you just might be carrying a penny worth more than your entire car, house, and maybe even your in-laws combined. Yep, I'm talking about the legendary 1984 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $2.8 million. That's right, a single cent that could retire you early, buy a yacht, or at least get you out of debt and into a nice pair of socks. Now before you say, oh come on, it's just a penny, let me stop you right there. That's the exact kind of thinking that causes people to drop fortunes in parking lots and couch cushions. Today, we're diving deep into this wild coin story, what makes the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so insanely valuable, what to look for, and how to make sure you're not the guy who spends one on a gumball, and just wait till I tell you how I almost accidentally used one to pay for a gas station burrito. No joke. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1984 penny features the classic profile of our guy Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, which was the standard design from 1959 until 2008. Now what makes the 1984 version stand out, specifically the one with no mint mark, is that it can sometimes come with a super rare error that makes collectors go absolutely bonkers. The error in question? A double ear. Yep, you heard that right. Honest Abe's got himself an extra ear. On this rare error coin, you can see a doubling of Lincoln's earlobe, and if that doubling is clear and strong, well, buddy, you're sitting on a small fortune. Now I know what you're thinking. How the heck does a penny with a printing mistake end up being worth nearly $3 million? Great question. See, coin collectors, or numismatists if you want to sound fancy, love rarity and weirdness. The fewer of these coins that exist, the higher their value. And let me tell you, finding a 1984 double-ear Lincoln penny in high grade is like finding Bigfoot playing poker with Elvis and a unicorn. Most of these pennies came from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use mint marks at that time. So when we say, no mint mark, that just means it came from Philly, not that it's missing anything per se. But what is missing from most of your average pocket change is this double-ear feature and the high grade that drives the price sky high. It's one in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded MS 67 or higher. For those unfamiliar, MS stands for mint state, and 67 means it's nearly flawless. I'm talking no scratches, no finger smudges, no weird taco sauce stains. Yes, I've seen that happen. These high-grade coins are usually found by folks who've been coin hunting for a while or who had the good fortune of stashing old coins in a drawer and forgetting about them for decades. Let's talk about the actual money now. In recent years, one of these 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies with that double ear and high-grade status was sold at auction for a whopping $2.8 million. That's not a typo. That's 3 commas. You could buy a house in Malibu or every flavor of Doritos ever made. Twice. Now let me tell y'all about the time I almost spent one of these bad boys without even knowing it. True story. I was at a sketchy gas station off the highway, you know the kind where the hot dogs have probably been spinning since 1997. I grabbed a burrito, a soda, and went to pay. Dug into my change jar and handed over some coins. The clerk, bless her heart, picks up a penny and says, "This one looks weird." Now I'm not a superstitious man, but when a stranger at a gas station says a penny looks weird, you pay attention. I took a closer look and, boom, there it was. That extra little earlobe staring right back at me like it knew how close it came to being traded for processed meat, and regret that I took that penny back, thanked the gas station clerk, and immediately drove home like I was smuggling gold bars in the trunk. Sent it off for grading a week later. It came back MS 65, not quite the holy grail, but still worth a few grand. And let me tell you, that burrito would not have been worth the trade. So if you take nothing else away from today's video, remember this: check your change before you spend it. Or better yet, get yourself a coin magnifier and a good lamp and really look. Because that 1 second of curiosity might just be worth millions. First, go through your penny jars. Don't just dump them in a Coinstar machine and walk away. That's like tossing lottery tickets in the trash without checking the numbers. Second, look specifically for 1984 pennies with no mint mark. Hold them up under a bright light or use a magnifier to check the ear. If there's any doubling, take a closer look. If it looks like Abe has a little ghost ear or a weird shadow, you might be onto something. Third, condition is everything. If it's all scratched up, it might still be worth something, but it's the clean, untouched beauties that bring in the big bucks, and if you think you found one, get it graded by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. A high-grade coin can be the difference between $50 and $50,000. Or in our star coin's case, nearly $3 million. Hey there folks, gather around, because what I'm about to tell you might just have you diving headfirst into your couch cushions or raiding grandma's old coin jar. You ever heard of a penny that's worth more than a Lamborghini, a beach house in Florida, and a lifetime supply of bacon combined? Well, today, we're talking about a 1977 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that is currently valued at a jaw-dropping $2.9 million. That's right. A little copper coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk could actually make you a millionaire. Now, if that doesn't grab your attention, I don't know what will. Now, before you start flipping every penny in your wallet, sit tight. We're diving deep into why this humble little cent is worth so much, what makes it rare, how you can identify one, and most importantly, what to do if you ever find one. And of course, I'll sprinkle in a little story from my own experience that just might make you laugh, cringe, or maybe both. So grab your magnifying glass, your cup of coffee, and let's talk money, small money that's secretly big money. Let's start with the basics. The 1977 Lincoln penny was part of the regular issue, nothing flashy at first glance. It features good old Abe Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Most of them were minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally doesn't put a mint mark on the coins. So technically, all 1977 pennies from Philly are no mint mark. But here's the kicker. One of these ordinary-looking coins turned out to be not so ordinary. See, this particular 1977 penny, now valued at $2.9 million, is what we call a double die error. That means during the minting process, the coin was struck twice slightly out of alignment, creating a doubling effect on the date or lettering. You might need a magnifying glass to spot it, but the devil, and the dollars, are in the details. But wait, it gets better. This coin isn't just any double die. It's one of the cleanest, sharpest, and most pronounced examples ever found. Combine that with its high grade, pristine condition, and the fact that very few like it exist, and bam, coin collectors lose their minds. Suddenly, what was once a 1-cent coin is now a coin that can buy you a penthouse suite. So how in the world did a coin like this end up being worth $2.9 million? Great question. It all boils down to rarity, condition, and demand. This specific 1977 no-mint mark penny was graded by a top-tier coin grading company as MS-67, which is mint state, practically untouched. Not only that, but the double die is so well preserved, so visually clear, and so rare that collectors were willing to pay millions to get their hands on it. And let's not forget the collector's market. Rich folks love rare things. Some collect cars. Others collect baseball cards. And then you have the big fish who go after rare coins. The guy who bought this penny? Word is, he didn't even flinch at the price. When you've got money to burn, you don't just buy stuff, you invest in bragging rights. Now let me tell you a little story. Years ago, I was cleaning out a junk drawer. You know the one. Batteries that don't work. Paper clips. Rubber bands that haven't stretched since the 90s. And a cup of random coins. I started tossing them into a jar, and one penny caught my eye. It looked weird, kinda off-centered, a little shinier than the others. For a moment I thought, could this be worth something? But then I shrugged, laughed at myself, and used it to buy gum at a gas station. Fast forward a few weeks, I saw a news article about a rare 1977 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny selling for over $1 million. My stomach dropped faster than my hopes of getting six-pack abs. I still think about that gum. Was it worth $2.9 million? Probably not. But man, I'll never look at loose change the same way again. First, check the year, 1977. No mint mark under the date. Then, grab a magnifier and inspect the date and lettering. A double die will look like a faint shadow or doubling effect, especially on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Some folks even say it looks like the letters are vibrating. Second, condition matters. If your penny's been through a washing machine, chewed by a dog, or living under your car seat since the 90s, it's probably not going to hit that $1 million mark. But even a worn double die can be worth a few $1,000s. Lastly, consider getting it graded. Professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC will slap that baby in a secure case and give it an official score. That score could mean the difference between a few $100 and millions. While we're talking 1977, keep your eyes peeled for other errors too. There are pennies with off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, you name it. Some are worth a few $100. Some are worth a few thousand. The point is, pennies might be tiny, but they're mighty in the right conditions. Coins aren't just money, they're history. Every scratch tells a story. Every minting error is a little accident that became a treasure. You might have a 1977 Lincoln penny in your collection right now that could change your life. One tiny coin, overlooked by most, now worth $2.9 million. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's part treasure hunt, part history lesson, and part lottery ticket you didn't even know you bought. And here's the deal. If this kind of thing gets you excited, and let's be honest, who doesn't love the idea of turning a penny into a mansion, then you're in the right place. I've got more stories, more coin tips, and more ways to make your spare change work overtime. So do yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Smash it like you just found $1 million coin in your sock drawer. Tap the notification bell too so you never miss a beat, because the next $1 million coin could be sitting in your pocket right now, and you won't know it unless you know what to look for. Thanks for hanging out with me. Keep searching, keep flipping, and keep believing. Because in the world of coins, anything is possible. Hey there fellow treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel where pocket change could make you rich and your old coin jar might just be your retirement plan. Let me ask you something, when was the last time you checked your loose change? You might want to do that after this video, because today we're talking about a regular old penny 1 cent, just one coppery little guy from 1986 with no mint mark that's turning heads in the coin world because it's worth, wait for it, $1 million. That's right. One penny, $1 million. Now before you dive into the couch cushions, let me break this down for you, because there's a reason this seemingly normal coin is breaking the bank, and if you're thinking it's too good to be true, hold onto your belt buckle, cause this story is going to surprise you. But first let me tell you about a little moment I had at a flea market last summer. I'll tie it in, I promise. So there I was, right in the middle of nowhere town, USA, browsing through this table of dusty mason jars, matchbox cars, and old kitchen utensils you'd never actually use, and boom, a shoebox full of coins. I swear it was like a magnetic force pulled me to it. Now the guy selling them probably thought they were just junk. I paid $20 for the box, not expecting much, maybe a wheat penny or two, some tarnished nickels. Well, I took that box home, cleaned it up, and found a 1986 penny with no mint mark. Didn't think much of it until I started digging. So what makes this 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1 million? It's not just luck, although luck does play a role. It's a combo of rarity, condition, and one heck of an error. First off, let's talk about the mint mark. Usually on coins you'll see a small letter underneath the year: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But this little guy has nothing, not a zip. That means it was minted in Philadelphia, because they didn't use a mint mark for pennies. That year sounds ordinary, right? But here's the twist: the $1 million version of this penny isn't just about the mint mark or lack of one. It's a rare die error coin, a coin that was struck with a misaligned die that caused a super crisp doubling effect on Lincoln's profile and some of the lettering. That's what collectors call a DDO, or double die obverse. And let me tell you, when that doubling is strong and clear on a no mint mark penny from 1986, you've got yourself a unicorn. Add to that a pristine condition, something in MS 67 or higher, and boom, you've got a coin that could Easily hit the $1 million mark at auction now. Don't go quitting your day job yet. Most 1986 no-mint mark pennies are still worth just 1 cent, maybe a couple bucks if they're shiny, but that rare error in mint state, that's the ticket and the kicker. There are probably a few of these floating around in drawers, coffee cans and old penny rolls. People have no idea what they're sitting on. I mean, I almost tossed mine into a Coinstar machine for a bag of chips, thank goodness for curiosity and bad snack choices. So how do you know if you've got one of these $1 million beauties? First, get yourself a magnifying glass, or if your eyes are like mine, a digital microscope. You're looking for doubling on Lincoln's face, his eye, the date and the word liberty. You also want the coin to have that fresh from the mint luster, no scratches, no wear and tear, like it's been sitting in a time capsule. Next, check with a grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks can officially grade your coin, and if you really do have a high-quality error, they'll slap it in a protective case and boom, now you've got paperwork and value. Oh, and here's a funny side note. I tried to explain this whole thing to my cousin Gary. He collects bottle caps for fun. I tell him I might have $1 million penny and he goes, cool, you want to trade it for this limited edition root beer cap? I said, Gary, that's why you're single, buddy. Now back to the serious stuff. If you're searching rolls or jars or even your change from the gas station, keep an eye out. The 1986 no-mint mark penny is usually copper-coated zinc, but you may also find one that was accidentally struck on a copper planchet. That's another rare error that collectors drool over. At in off-center strikes, double tails, wrong planchets, clipped edges, anything that makes the coin look not quite right, and your penny just might be worth a phone call to an auction house. And speaking of auctions, these coins have gone for crazy money in the past. A verified double die error in top condition has broken 6 figures, with whispers in the collector world about private sales hitting that sweet $1 million mark. That's not just internet hype, folks, that's real money for real coins. So here's the deal: the next time someone says a penny's worthless, you look dead in the eye and say, not if it's a 1986 no-mint mark with a doubling error and MS67 condition. The truth is, coins are everywhere, and the rare ones don't always look like treasure. Sometimes they're sitting in your cup holder under a pile of receipts. Start checking those coins. Get a magnifier. Get excited, because you never know when the next $1 million penny will fall into your lap. And hey, if you found this video helpful or even mildly entertaining, do me a solid, smash that like button and hit subscribe. I've got loads more tips coming your way, and we're just getting started on this wild ride of coin collecting strategies for folks like us, regular people who like a good story, a little history, and maybe, just maybe, a surprise payday. Alright, let me hit you with a wild one today. Imagine digging through your old coin jar, looking for laundry money, and bam, you stumble upon a penny. Just one little old penny. But wait, it's not just any penny. It turns out to be worth more than your house, your car, and probably your cousin Ricky's entire Pokemon card collection. That's right. We're talking about the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's valued at a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Yeah, I said million, with an M.So if you've got a couch, a car cup holder, or a drawer full of old change somewhere, you might want to stick around. Because by the end of this video, you'll be sprinting like a madman to check your spare coins. Let's start with the basics. In 1982, the United States Mint had a bit of an identity crisis. They were switching the composition of the penny from 95% copper to a much cheaper zinc core with a thin copper coating. The reason? Copper prices were getting higher than my cholesterol during Thanksgiving. Now, here's where it gets spicy. There were 7 different varieties of the 1982 penny. That's right, 7. We had large date copper, small date copper, large date zinc, small date zinc. It's like a Starbucks menu but for coin nerds. But the real treasure, the golden ticket, the unicorn of all pennies, is the 1982 no-mint mark small date made of copper. And there's only one confirmed example. Just one. That's rarer than a unicorn doing taxes. Here's the deal. The Philadelphia Mint produced pennies in 1982 without a mint mark. That's normal. But all the small date copper cents were supposed to have been replaced during the switch to zinc. Somehow, one small date copper penny slipped through the cracks, and someone actually found it in their pocket change in 2016. A couple of years ago, I was at my grandpa's house, helping clean out the garage. And if you've ever cleaned a garage that hasn't seen daylight since the Clinton administration, you know it's an archaeological dig. Underneath a pile of rusted screwdrivers and some sort of fossilized sandwich, I found a big jar of coins. I'm talking pennies from every decade. So I grabbed a magnifying glass like I was Sherlock Holmes and started checking dates. That I didn't find the 1982 no mint mark copper penny that day, but I did find a 1943 steel penny stuck to a magnet, which was cool. And it kicked off this whole obsession with coin collecting. Now, my spare time looks like an episode of CSI, Coin Scene Investigation. First, you want to make sure it's a 1982 penny with no mint mark. That's step 1. Then check the date style. Is it a small date? If you're squinting and thinking, I don't know what that means, don't worry. The small date 1982 has a level 2 in the date, meaning it lines up evenly with the 1 and the 9. The large date 2 kind of dips lower. The weight is another clue. A copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams. Zinc ones? About 2.5 grams. So if you've got a 1982 no mint mark penny that's a small date and it weighs 3.11 grams, buddy, you better put that thing in a velvet-lined box and call a professional coin dealer. This particular 1982 penny was authenticated by experts and sold for a whopping $1.1 million. 1 penny. 1 million. Imagine paying off your mortgage, your student loans, and still having enough left over to buy a taco truck and follow your dreams. And hey, if you think this is just one of those weird coin stories from the Twilight Zone, think again. People are finding valuable coins in everyday change all the time. It's just a matter of knowing what to look for. So the next time you hear someone say, "It's just a penny," just smile and think, maybe, just maybe, that penny is hiding 6 zeros behind it. Now here's what I want you to do. Go grab that change jar. Check your wallet. Raid the cup holder in your car and ask Grandma if she's got any old coins tucked away in her purse next to the butterscotch candy. And if you're serious about finding valuable coins and learning strategies to boost your collection, hit that subscribe button right now. I've got more coin secrets, tips, and money-making stories coming your way than a leprechaun at a yard sale. Don't sleep on your spare change, my friends. Because somewhere out there, another $1 million penny is just waiting to be found. Alright folks, picture this: you're rummaging through your junk drawer looking for a paperclip or maybe that rogue AA battery that disappeared 3 weeks ago, and instead your fingers land on a dusty old penny. You barely notice it and almost toss it back in with the paper clips when boom, it hits you. What if this crusty little cent is actually worth over $1 million? Yeah, you heard that right, $1.2 million. That's enough to buy a house, a boat, a new truck, and still have enough left over to fill your bathtub with gummy bears. If you're into that kind of thing. Today we're talking about the legendary, the elusive, the deceptively ordinary looking 1995 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. This little guy is hiding in plain sight and could be the jackpot you didn't even know you had. So grab your jar of pennies, sit back, maybe pour yourself a cold drink and get comfy, because by the end of this video you might just be rich, and if not, at least you'll be the smartest one at the next family barbecue when someone says coins are boring. Spoiler alert, they are not. The 1995 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. Now we've all seen billions of these little guys floating around in change jars, couch cushions, and under car seats, but there's one very specific variety that's blowing minds and bank accounts. Now you might be asking, what makes this one penny worth over $1 million? Is it dipped in gold? Does it sing when you flip it? No, but that would be amazing. It all comes down to rarity, condition, and a little sprinkle of minting magic. Here's the deal: in most cases the 1995 D penny is just another penny worth, you guessed it, 1 cent, but there is an extremely rare variety struck with a dramatic die error combined with nearly flawless condition. These coins are what collectors call MS68 red or higher, and that, my friends, is where things get spicy. Now let me hit you with some coin lingo. MS stands for mint state. It's a grading scale from 1 to 70, and anything above MS65 is considered minty fresh, like it just rolled off the press and skipped the gum under your school desk. A 1995 D penny graded MS68 red basically means it's in drop-dead gorgeous condition with no ugly spots, no scratches, and the red means it kept that fresh coppery shine like it just got its glow up from a spa day. Only a handful of these pennies have survived in this top-tier condition, and that's what makes them so insanely valuable. They are unicorns among coins. One of these beauties was sold for $1.2 million at auction. I know it's hard to believe that a coin you might accidentally vacuum up is worth more than a Lamborghini, but hey, that's the wild world of numismatics. I remember this one day back in 2018. I was cleaning out my old coin jar from high school, you know, the kind you swear you'll roll and take to the bank someday, but instead it just becomes a metal graveyard. Well, I found a 1995 D penny in there, and for a second my heart did a little cha-cha. I rushed to the kitchen, flipped on my desk lamp, and grabbed the magnifying glass like I was Sherlock Holmes. On the case was it the $1 million version? No, turns out it had a scratch that looked suspiciously like someone tried to open a soda with it. Still, it was the beginning of my obsession with coin hunting, and let me tell you, since then I've found coins worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. So here's what you want to check when you inspect your 1995 D penny. First, look at the mint mark D. Of course, we're not talking about Philly or San Francisco for this one. Second, check for the die condition. You want crisp, clear details, nowhere sharp lines, and that juicy red color. Third, get it graded by a professional. If you think you've got a winner, don't just eyeball it and hope for the best. That'd be like guessing your steak is medium rare without cutting into it. And finally, check with recent auctions and collector sites to compare. It helps to know what kind of coin game you're sitting on now. If you're really serious about hunting for one of these bad boys, you can check out estate sales, flea markets, garage sales, and even rolls of pennies from the bank. Yeah, that's right, you can literally go into your bank, ask for $20 in pennies, and potentially walk out with a coin that changes your life. Just make sure your back can handle lifting those heavy coin rolls. Another tip, always check the obverse side closely. That's the one with Lincoln's profile. Look at the letters, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Any doubling, smearing, or weird spacing could be a sign of an error, and collectors go bananas for errors. Oh, and let's not forget storage. If you think you've got something valuable, don't just throw it back in the junk drawer. Put it in a coin flip or a protective holder. Keep it away from moisture, heat, and that cousin who always borrows things and never returns them. Now, some of you might be thinking, come on, who's actually paying this kind of money for a penny? Well, the answer is serious collectors, investors, and even museums. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby anymore, it's an industry, and rare coins like the 1995 D penny are like the Honus Wagner baseball card of the coin world. They're legendary and only going up in value. Plus, think about this, if inflation keeps going the way it is, $1 million penny might actually make perfect sense someday. The 1995 D Lincoln penny could be worth up to $1.2 million if it's in mint state condition with sharp details and a bright red tone. It's rare but not impossible to find, and yes, you could be sitting on one right now in your couch cushions. Look, I know coin collecting might not seem as flashy as crypto or sports cards, but there's something deeply satisfying about hunting for treasure in the most unexpected places. You don't need to be a millionaire to find $1 million coin, you just need curiosity, a magnifying glass, and a little bit of luck. So the next time someone laughs at your coin jar obsession, you just smile and remember this video, because while they're busy scrolling TikTok, you could be finding the next big payday in a roll of pennies. And hey, if you learned something today or had a good laugh, or maybe just checked your own pockets during this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money, coin hunting strategies, and maybe a few more stories of me embarrassing myself with a magnifying glass. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss a single chance to strike it rich, and share this video with that one friend who always swears they have rare coins but never actually looks. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep your eyes sharp, your coins safe, and your hopes high. Hey there folks. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your spare change? You know, that pile of pennies hiding in your cup holder, junk drawer, or under your couch cushions? Well, buckle up, because you might just be sitting on a gold mine disguised as a humble little copper penny. Today we're talking about the 1973 D Lincoln penny. Sounds ordinary, right? Wrong. One of these little guys recently hit the coin collecting world like a thunderbolt. And get this, it's now worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. That's not a typo. 1. Point. 3 million. So before you go cashing in your piggy bank for coffee money, you might want to stick around. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, what makes this penny so special, and how you can become the Indiana Jones of loose change. And hey, I've got a personal story that just might make you dump your entire penny jar on the kitchen table tonight. Trust me, this one's worth watching to the end. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1973 D penny was minted in Denver, as you can tell by the little D right beneath Abraham Lincoln's chest on the obverse. The coin's made mostly of copper with a touch of zinc, weighing in at about 3.11 grams. Now, here's the thing. The US Mint struck over 3.5 billion of these. That's billion, with a B. So why would one be worth more than a private island and a lifetime supply of beef jerky? The key to this specific 1973 D penny's insane value is a combination of three things. First up, mint errors. Not your everyday, oops I sneezed while striking kind of error. We're talking double dies, off-center strikes, or even transitional metal errors where the wrong planchet was used. One known example was struck on a leftover silver planchet. Imagine a penny that thinks it's a dime. That kind of mix-up gets collectors drooling. Second, mint state condition. That $1 million penny was graded as MS-67 red. That's basically coin speak for, this thing is flawless. No scratches, no fingerprints, no gum from 1986 stuck to it. If your penny has that rich, red coppery sheen and looks like it just rolled off the press yesterday, you might be in business. And third, provenance and rarity. This particular coin has a history of being in some high-profile collections and auctions. It's like the James Bond of pennies, everybody wants to own it. Now let's talk money. The coin collecting world goes absolutely bonkers for ultra-rare Lincoln cents in pristine condition. In recent years, that 1973 D penny fetched a whopping $1.3 million at a private auction. Let that sink in for a second. Someone spent more on a penny than most people spend on a house. And the demand for coins like this has only gone up. There's a growing number of collectors, especially online. Between auction houses like Heritage Auctions and private dealers, a hot penny in top condition can spark a bidding war like you've never seen. Now let me tell you about my own penny misadventure. So, a few years ago, I was at a yard sale, nothing fancy, just your usual Grandma Lampenbier sign kind of setup. And this guy had a huge jar of pennies for $1. $1 for a whole jar. I bought it, brought it home, and started sifting through it for fun. Guess what I found? A 1973 D penny in absolutely mint condition. Looked brand new. I got excited. I mean, it didn't look like much, but it had that shiny red luster, no dings, no scratches, but, and here comes the heartbreak, I tossed it into a coin machine at the grocery store for store credit. That's right. I traded a potential jackpot for $2.67 in grocery coupons, and now, years later, I find out that a 1973 D penny in mint condition just sold for $1.3 million. If you heard a loud scream in the distance last week, that was probably me. Alright, let's make sure you don't make the same mistake I did. Here's what to look for in your 1973 D pennies: errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or strange metal composition. If you spot one that looks out of the ordinary, take it to a coin dealer. Or better yet, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Getting that little slab with a high grade might just change your life. And hey, while you're at it, check the weight of your coin. It should be around 3.11 grams. If it's way off, say 2.5 grams or over 3.5, you might have a planchet error, and that's big bucks territory. Always check your change, especially pennies from the 60s and 70s, by a simple magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Your eyes will thank you. Invest in coin folders or albums to keep your finds safe. Learn how to spot counterfeits. Because yes, Even pennies get fake. Join online forums or local coin clubs. You'll learn more from fellow collectors than any book while you're on the hunt for the 1973 D. Jackpot. Keep an eye out for other valuable pennies too, and anything pre-1982, which are solid copper and worth more than face value. Some of these might not hit the $1 million mark, but they can definitely bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars if you find the right one. So let's recap. The 1973 D Lincoln penny, yeah, that everyday coin you've probably ignored your entire life, could be worth up to $1.3 million if it has the right error, the right condition, and the right story. Never underestimate a penny. It might be small, but it could have a big old paycheck attached to it. And if you're like me and you once traded away a mint condition penny for gas station snacks, well, we can cry together. Now here's what I want you to do next. Go grab your coin jars, your junk drawers, your glove box, heck, check under your couch cushions, and start hunting. If you find a 1973 D that fits the bill, let me know. I'd love to feature it on the channel, and don't forget, subscribe to this channel if you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you rich. I've got plenty more where this came from. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Hit that like button like it owes you money, and leave a comment below telling me what cool coins you found.